I've seen a lot of Isekai, seen a handful of Villainess shows. But whatever meta induced coma they just put me through was left me speechless. I mean, on one hand, I guess my theory was right. They are indeed watching their dad play the game. When you see the beast that the dude summons, because it's all about, hey, like, we're gonna summon a magical beast, and we see a little doll of both the game avatar and our boy, I'm like, well, that's a twist and a half. And then God's hands come out of the screen, and I'm like, okay. And they merge it into a dragon that can flip between water and fire elements. Well, that's a twist and a half. Cutaway to casually using the rest of the episode, which was a decent amount, to confirm not only, yes, the dad isn't dead, he's just in a coma, so his soul and mind went to Isekai Otherworld land, but his body is physically there. I've been saying it for a couple weeks now. I expect that probably by the end of the story he wakes up and, maybe it's like just about getting to the proper ending. I don't know exactly what's going to be. I totally assume there's just some god who's bored out there, because there's been a couple of times they pulled away from the screen and there's like this white room and it makes it look like, okay, is like someone just messing with us? Like, what the hell's going on? But the idea that they basically have had no control up to this point, and the first major crucial point was when they could assist. We might all have our favorites of different things, but at a certain point you recognize what's currently been produced in the genre. It's hard not to deny this might actually be the best. I'll still have my favorites, but I mean, I gotta admit that plot twist and the confirmation and how they expanded it further. If anything, I thought maybe they could be like, they take over with the controller. I wasn't expecting, it didn't look like the daughter's hands, but I guess when you go through the TV of Isekai bullshittery, it allows you to do a lot of things that my brain trembles, bros. Why isn't this a 24 episode anime? Of course, if you want to support my work and see my full thoughts to these amazing episodes, you have a Patreon where we got the full live reactions available exclusively if you're so interested. Damn, man. Like, in a perfect world for me, what they would do, and they're not gonna do it, it's not impossible. I have seen shows do similar things, but given that we're not getting a full adaptation in 12 episodes, it would be really great if, like, in the final episode, or like the final handful of minutes, they went anime original and they confirm him waking up. Because then what you could do is that when you get a season 2, or if you get a season 2, you can then be like, okay, so prior to me waking up, this is where the story went. And I've seen different anime do that, where they're like, hey, here's an anime original ending, or here's like the final arc, but insert next season takes place before. It would just be really nice, because like with the way they're going, like I doubt we get a full adaptation, especially because half these things are always like still ongoing source materials. But that'd be in like my perfect world. But I'm just happy they confirmed this, because like when the hands came out, I thought to myself like, well, could it be like the family? But I was like, no, it couldn't be, because the hands and the arms, they were much too big. Like it looked bigger than an average human. Seeing the answer is that, well, they did go through a TV and that probably changes appearance. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. I'm firmly convinced there's a god at play just watching this for amusement, though, because when he died, they pulled away and it looked like someone was like watching him. And then same thing in this episode. It could just be a visual flair, but it seems a little too on the nose that it's almost like, okay, are you just doing this for fun? Are you actually the reason he has a chance at coming back home? Like, I don't know. There's some questions, but this was not the episode I signed up for. When they started talking about the eggs, I was like, okay, since they introduced the concept of magic and spells, I was like, yeah, they haven't done a lot with that, so we're gonna do some. And it's a fun little mechanic. You put your mana in the egg for about 30 days, and then you say in a chant, and you get a beast of some sort. The harrowing god of Pegasus, people were talking mad shit. I was like, that's interesting. I thought that was a pretty legendary creature where I come from. And then, you got griffins and this, that, and the third. And yeah, our boy comes. I'm thinking to myself, just based on things I've seen, like, oh, maybe he'll just summon like a generic dragon, or he'll do something that looks evil at face value. Doubt on that case, but I wouldn't be surprised just for the lulz. And then you see the dolls, man. The dolls threw me for such a loop, because when I saw that, my mind wasn't merge them. My mind was, that kind of makes sense. I mean, he is technically two people in one. Maybe he gets two familiars at once. And that's just, it's fascinating. It really is, because the game was so dumbfounded I forget what the teacher said. It was like, well, that was weird. Anyway, let's move on from that. The game was so speechless by God's diddle hands coming out of a magical screen and pushing two things that they had no idea were there. And we're like, okay, anyway, let's move on with the lesson. That's funny. No matter how you spin that, that is freaking funny. And I think my favorite part overall about the whole confirmation of everything is that all of the moments we've seen up to this point, so we don't see like the entirety of them watching and going through, but the fact that you see so many different moments are like, yeah, that definitely sounds like dad. And once they got to the dad pun jokes, which was I think last week's episode, they're like, yeah, damn it, that really is dad. I didn't think the mom was an otaku, because given the flashback, she seemed like a pretty normal person. I didn't think she, like, shit on their parade, but, you know, I thought she was a fairly... No, like, this is the weebiest household known to man. Like, they just... The mom's reactions when the daughter's like, hey, this is gonna sound crazy. Yes, that makes a lot of sense. Like, it should be the dumbest shit I've seen all season. But yet I want to say it's the most brilliant shit I've seen all season. Like, they did a really good job with this episode. And I think what makes it work so well is a lot of these shows, if this was going to happen episode 8 or 9, I feel like would be an appropriate time to do this reveal. But by doing it by only episode 4, it's like you get a few episodes of like getting to think about what things could mean and, you know, could they... Because my whole thing was that the daughter was going to try playing the game and realizing that there's a new route. And like maybe she'd play alongside. I didn't get it completely right, but I had a good idea of where it turned out it wanted to go. But yeah, they sucker punched me. And the way they executed this was just so remarkable. Like, the show started off really, really fun and funny. But yeah, 2 through 4 are different beasts. And by dropping the reveal here, it allows the next 2/3 of this anime to really go into uncharted territories. And seemingly they can just observe until there's a moment where they might need to help him. Wow. Like, there's good isekai, there's good villainess shows, there's excellent ones, but then there's one of a kind. And this might be the most one out of kind show in this department. Because no matter what I can look at and say, oh man, that Villainess show from last anime season, that one just clicked with me, I loved how they did it. It's still a Villainess show, even if they did different things. This one just feels like it's different, but similar to when the plot twist originally came with Madoka Magica, man. Like, there's a reason why that shit hooked people in. Your thoughts? Leave a like if you enjoyed, subscribe if you're new around here, of course, ring that bell, like I mentioned, full live reactions over on Patreon. Tell you while you're over there, I'll also give you a video shout out. Alright, so today we got X Nico, Nugzio, Fuzzy, Doubles, Pokemon 222, 888, Derek Nickel, and we also have a little Big Trouble. So I appreciate the support, everyone. Please take care, and y'all have a good one.